I've told people I loved them when I didn't really mean it, and they've told me they loved me when I knew they weren't being honest. They say only the good die young, but I think it's the people with secrets that end up dying first. People who carry around their secrets like a dark cloud over their head. You can see it looming in the corner of your eye, but it's always out of focus. It never quite makes it into the light. My name is Name. This is my story. The first time I ever heard someone admit they hated me, I was 7 years old. I just started attending Grace Church Day School, and at the end of the first day, my mom picked me up from the classroom, all excited to hear about my new school. "How was your first day?" she asked. "It was so fun," I said, barely containing my glee. "We got to play outside and we made a new friend named Melissa." Mom ruffled my hair and smiled. "That sounds nice. Who was your teacher?" "Miss Geraldine," I said proudly. When Miss Geraldine came to collect me that day, her expression was grim. As soon as we were alone, she pulled me aside and whispered, "You know, your mother hates me." Startled, I could only nod dumbly. She pressed her lips together and shook her head sadly. "Don't worry, darling," she said. "It's probably better this way." Then she walked away without another word. The next day, Miss Geraldine did not come to collect me. Instead, a new teacher named Mr. Lancaster took me aside and explained that Miss Geraldine had resigned after only one day because she couldn't deal with difficult children. To this day, I have no idea what she meant. I don't remember doing anything particularly bad on that first day of school. I hadn't even been called to the principal's office for acting up or hitting other kids. Sure, I was a rambunctious kid, but I wasn't an angel either, so I wasn't sure why Miss Geraldine would single me out. Perhaps she just didn't like me. Maybe she didn't think I was cute like the other kids. Or maybe, just maybe, my mother had spoken to her about me before the school year started, and she came in with a preconceived notion of me. At the time, I didn't understand why adults would lie to kids. Now I do. Sometimes they do it to protect you, sometimes they do it to manipulate you, and sometimes they do it simply because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But most times there is a deeper reason, a hidden truth behind the lies. When I was 12, I discovered my parents were lying to me. The night before my birthday, my parents sat me down and told me they had a surprise for me the next day. At first, they wouldn't tell me what it was, but eventually they relented and told me I would get a puppy. Since I'd been begging for a dog for years, I was over the moon. I couldn't sleep that night with excitement. I kept tossing and turning, imagining what breed the puppy would be, whether it would be a boy or a girl, and what games we would play together. On my birthday, I woke up bright and early and ran downstairs to find my parents standing in the living room holding a basket. Inside the basket was a little ball, a water dish, and some dog food. But there was no puppy. Confused, I looked at my parents, who were trying to avoid eye contact. "Where's the puppy?" I asked. My dad sighed. "Honey," he started, "we lied to you." "What? Why?" "Because," my mom said, avoiding my gaze, "it's better this way." Those words felt like a punch in the gut. I wanted to scream, to cry, to do anything except sit there listening to my parents crush my dreams. After I blew out the candles on my cake, I retreated to my room and didn't come out until dinner time. I haven't forgiven them for that until today. When I was 14, I found out a classmate of mine was lying about something big. We were doing a group project for our science class, and I had volunteered to be the spokesperson. The night before our presentation, I went to my group members' houses to rehearse. We went through the entire presentation once, and everything was going well. I thought we were going to get an A+. The next day, we presented, and midway through, one of my group members said something that shocked me. He was talking about how beagles are the best dogs because they're friendly and intelligent. But then he added, "Of course, if you don't like dogs, you should just stay away from them. It's better that way." I knew he wasn't talking about dogs. He was talking about his personal life. His parents had divorced a few months ago, and he didn't want anyone to know. That's why he never invited anyone over to his house, and that's why he always seemed so distant and unapproachable. After our presentation, I confronted him. Why didn't you tell us?" "Tell you what?" he asked innocently. "About your parents," I said, my voice trembling with anger. "They didn't tell me you knew about it," he said, shrugging his shoulders. "Oh, they did. They told me it was better this way," I said, shaking my head in disbelief. He just shrugged again and walked away. I was furious. Not only had he kept such a big secret, but he also blamed his parents for it. However, deep down, I knew he was hurting. Even though he acted like it didn't bother him, the fact that he didn't want anyone to know about his parents' divorce meant that it must have been painful for him. But I wasn't the only one who knew his secret. I soon found out that a lot of people in our school knew about his parents' divorce, but they kept quiet. They didn't want to make waves. They didn't want to get involved. When I asked him why he kept his parents' divorce a secret, he said, "It's better this way." And for a moment, I understood. Now, I tell people I hate secrets. Secrets eat away at you from the inside out. They turn into a dark cloud over your head, looming in the corner of your eye, always out of focus. It never quite makes it into the light. Secrets bury themselves inside you and then start growing roots, tendrils that wrap around your heart and squeeze tight. Sometimes you forget about them, push them to the back of your mind where they gather dust. And sometimes they come creeping back into your thoughts, whispering in your ear, making you question everything. Secrets can be heavy burdens to carry, but they can also be dangerous weapons. People use them to manipulate others, to control them, to hurt them. But sometimes they use them to protect themselves. We all have secrets, no matter how perfect our lives may seem. And sometimes those secrets have the power to destroy us. If you keep quiet, the world will keep spinning. The sun will rise and set. The seasons will change. But inside you, the storm will rage on forever. It's better to let the sunshine in, even if it hurts a little bit. Because when you let the sunshine in, you let the healing begin. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, please show your support. I'll see you next time.